Hey everybody, welcome here to Musicians Edition. I'm Evan on the guitar, and in this one we are in our fourth entry of our funk series here, and we're going to be diving into 7th chords and some new kinds of strumming patterns for us to practice with. As always, if you're not interested particularly in funk, there's a lot of great practice here, new kinds of chords for you to figure out that you can always put into any kind of music, and new strumming patterns to help you play quicker, practice some muted strums and some new kind of grooves here. So let's get into it. So let's first look at our chords we're going to be doing. These are going to be 7th chords. We're going to play E7 and G7. So here's the shape for our E7. What we're going to do is we're going to put our index finger on the 5th fret. We're going to put middle finger, and that's the 5th fret of the 2nd string from the bottom right here. And then we're going to go up and we're going to put our middle finger on the 6th fret of the D string here. And our last two fingers are going to be 7th fret and 7th fret right here. So altogether, it should look like this. Okay? So we've got 5, 6, 7, and 7 there. We're not going to strum these two bottom strings here. We're just going to use these 4 strings we have fretted. And that is E7. Our next one is going to be G7, which is going to be this same exact shape, so let's keep it here. We're going to slide everything up 3 frets, so instead of our index being on 5, it's going to go up to 8, and everything is going to follow that same thing. So we have index on 8, our middle finger is on the 9th fret, and our last two fingers right here are on the 10th fret. So this is now G7, same shape that we just slid up from E to G. So those are our two chord shapes. Let's go back and get to our strumming patterns here that we're going to use these with. All right, so here we go. We are going to follow our basic strumming pattern of just down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up for all of these that we've been practicing with our 16th note. So let's just go ahead and get a feel for these chords. And let's go ahead and get our E7 going. That shape we just had. Here it is again for those who want to see it. And we're going to start off with just a basic down, up, all the way through. Make sure we can get a clean sound out of this chord and play it consistently. So we're going to fully press this chord and just practice it. Okay, and now we're going to practice just lifting up. So we're going to play fully lifted up and get that muted sound. Make sure no fingers are pressing to get a little twang. Nope, we want fully muted. So we want to feel what both those feel like. A little back and forth, I press. Pick it up. Practice going back and forth a little bit. It's a new chord shape, so let's make sure we got it down. When you're happy with that, we're going to go ahead and get our first rhythm on here. So here's our first one, and we are going to go down. And remember, those X's are going to be our muted hits. So we're going to do this. Our first one is a played down strum, 2 muted ones up and then back down. That 4th one coming up is played through. And then we're going to go muted, muted, down, muted, muted, up. We're hitting muted, muted, down, finish on 3 muted. So what's really happening here is you play once, 2 are muted, you play again, 2 are muted. It just goes back and forth of which one's played, the down versus the up. So really it's every 3rd strum is the one that's going to get played. So a bit more together, this is going to sound something like this. And then that last one gets 1 extra hit before you come back in again. So here that is one more time. And then we could come in again and repeat it one more time through. All right, let's go ahead and play this together. Let's go ahead and play this 2 times all the way through. So when it ends that first time, we're going to loop it back into itself one more time. I'm going to go ahead and count us in. We'll play it relatively slowly here. So that same pace we were just practicing. 1, 2, 3, 4. There it is. let's go ahead and do that just a little bit quicker to get a better feel for it of how it might sound in a song. Maybe not full speed, but we'll get our way up there. Let's go ahead and do a little bit quicker. 1, 2, ready, go. And that is it for our first pattern here. That is all with just our E7. Let's go ahead and get a new pattern, and let's go ahead and try our other chord. So that's going to be on G7. We are going to have, remember that index finger on 8, same chord shape. We're going to go ahead and play this. Make sure you get a good sound out of it. Mute it as well too. And let's go ahead and look at our second pattern. So here's our second one with G7. I'm going to go ahead and play this out nice and slowly so you can follow along to it. Here it is, another similar mix of down and up strums snuck in here, but a little bit different from our last one. So big difference is we are seeing 2 back-to-back here. We're seeing a down followed by an up. So if we were to compare this last 2, they are very similar. It's just this down up snuck in there. On whenever that down strum was by itself, it's now paired with an up strum afterwards. So really similar. We're just going to hold this down on that for that down up instead of lifting right away. So all together here, 1, 2, ready, go. There we go. So let's go ahead, and what we're going to do here is mix in both of our chords. We're going to do E7 to G7. So for E7, we are back on the 5th. We're going to practice that slide up to G and back. So let's go ahead and just, without even strumming, make sure you can get those fingers in the right places. What we're also doing, because we're moving 3 frets apart, is the frets get skinnier as we go up, so you do kind of have to adjust your shape a bit and the distance between your fingers. So let's add our strums. Make sure we can get clean sounds on both as we go between them. Keep trying to get faster as you go between them. And keep trying to get comfortable with that movement. All right, and we're going to go ahead and use this second pattern we just did. We're going to do it 1 time through on E7, 1 time through on G7. Let's get practice moving between chords here. Same exact pattern both times, just E7 then slid to G7. So that's going to sound like this all together. And back to E7 again. So this is going to be our final one that we do here. Let's go ahead and go for it. So all together here, we can go that same speed. Again, make sure you're a bit comfortable with these slides here. What we do have at the end is 2 muted hits in between this E and G where we can work on that slide. We don't have to go super quick. We get 2 muted hits at the end where we can start to slide and make sure we're pressed in place on that next down strum we have to do in between the E and G. So get ready on E. 1, 2, ready, go. And that's our playthrough. Let's go ahead and do this one more time, a tad bit quicker, and we'll do it 2 times. We're going to do E, G, E, G. Let's go ahead. 1, 2, ready, go. There it is. So you have just learned some new chords, an E7 and a G7. We got some good practice with some new kinds of strumming patterns. I'd say that's good for us to call it a day here in our 4th entry to our funk series here at Musicians Edition. Do stay tuned as we'll continue to practice these kinds of things. New chords, different strumming patterns, so we can keep on getting new chords, new strumming patterns, all that good stuff here on Musicians Edition, so we can keep progressing our skills on the guitar. Have fun playing, and we'll see you next time.